This week on Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast, we talk about episode 8 of Picard's second season, Mercy. And if we have time, we're going to talk a little bit about some off topic, which we haven't done in a while. So thanks for joining us. Hey, Johnson.
Hey, Mike.
How are you? I am.
Let me ask the question first. How are you doing?
Are we going to re-edit this? What are we doing?
No. Our listeners are going to hear all of that banter. How are you doing?
I am doing all right today. Yes. Yes.
Less rage.
Less rage, less chaos. Yes. Yes.
That's good. Violence is never the answer, Mike. Unless it is. That's what
unless
I say.
You're Admiral Janeway.
Unless it is the answer. And I also say that sometimes violence needs no reason.
Yes, Admiral Janeway, we salute you. Today was much better, thankfully. Yesterday was a bit of a shit show. So yeah.
Yeah.
I am happy to report that today is moderately better than yesterday.
Good. That's so positive. Look at you.
Moderately is your equivalent of like.
We have different standards, Mike.
We do. You're right. Yes. So
yeah.
How are you doing? How was your Wednesday?
I'm doing okay. Today was a little hectic, but I feel that it was overall productive.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I got a number of things done. Some of them were put off yesterday by some hacking. So
oh yeah, that's right. What happened? Can you talk about it? Like, what got hacked?
I don't know. Our emails got hacked.
Oh.
Several people's emails got hacked. Mine did not.
What was sent around? Was there porn?
No, I don't know. Someone did send one account got 900 emails sent from it. So
oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know what from. What about? But yeah, so my account was fine, other than we had a universal problem of no one being able to send outside of the organization, so everything bounced back.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was which I still think is related to the hacking somehow, but yeah, because there wasn't an Office 365 downtime really, so or at least I didn't see anything. So yeah, some people's emails got hacked. I have two-factor authentication. I just set it up like 2 weeks ago. So my account.
Wait, did they tell people not have TFA?
Yeah, we did not overall have TFA, and we were slowly rolling it out, and now we'll be fully rolled out by next week, because of this. So, which seems odd, but the timing of all this. But anyway.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so there were a lot of issues going on yesterday, so everything that I was kind of focused on got pushed to the side as I kind of helped deal with that, managing multiple. Because the other thing too is our IT company doesn't have like all of our cell phone numbers.
Oh God.
So and also part of it is that we're supposed to send them emails from our actual account, our work account, and if your work account is offline you can't, so then you need a second verification. So I had to verify one employee for sure, and it was just a shit show.
That's a mess.
Yeah, so yeah, on top of just a day of a lot going on personally and professionally. So
yeah
but today was better. So how's your week been?
It's been good overall. It's been busy. Yeah, it's been busy just work wise. I'm over my fish tanks, so I'm ready to
Oh
toss them.
yes.
Yeah, I'm
Yes, you
ready to
told
get
me.
rid of them. So we'll see what happens.
Can you sell them? Can you like
You can sell like, so if it was like it's a, I don't know, like people do sell tanks. It's a big pain, but you can sell tanks. It's easier to sell livestock actually, to sell the fish and the coral.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, I don't know if I can be bothered. So
It
we'll
does
see.
sound like more work than you're up for normally. So,
Well, the last time I got rid of a big tank, which was back when I was living in Queens, I actually did diligently sell, like post and sell everything, except the tank itself, which I just tossed. And I don't think I really made money. Like, I made some money, but it wasn't like I think earned all this cash, like net plus revenue, net positive. What is that furry thing? Is that your dog?
yes,
Oh,
he's
I was like, what is
suddenly
that?
paying
Is that a
attention. What is
tribble?
that? Oh, yes, it does look like a tribble. It acts like
Because I
a
only see
tribble,
the
and
top of it.
suddenly it wants to be on the podcast. So
Okay,
yes,
no,
he finished chewing his toy and suddenly was jumping up into my lap.
it's a
So
big tribble.
he is a big
Um,
tribble. Yes.
so yeah, so I'm over that. I have been trying to sleep more. I have been trying to be better
Really?
about self-care. Yes.
Oh, look at you.
Yes, yes. And
Has something prompted this new development?
no, well, I'm just trying to get on a better regimen, and then I'm going back to the gym because I've been only working out in my apartment, but going back to the gym, things like that. Um, so I've just been a little more cognizant, but we'll see how long that lasts. He
Okay.
needs like a haircut or something.
No, he does. Yes, he's a bit shaggy, but he doesn't get a haircut for another 2.5 weeks.
Does he smell?
No, we bathe him on Monday.
Okay. Okay.
No, 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 no. We'll probably bathe him again.
Yeah, he has so much hair. You can barely see his eyes.
I know. Yes, that's the thing. Yes, he's like that dog on. I can't think of which Disney movie it's on, but there's this dog whose hair is always in his eyes, and he like constantly blows it up out of the way so he can see something.
Yeah,
This is what Hamish's life is like. But
yeah, that's
he
too much.
somehow seems to see food whenever he wants to, and he still sees street snacks. So
He looks ridiculous. All right, there we go.
yes.
Okay,
So yes, he's a bit ridiculous. Okay.
all right.
Um.
So yeah, so that's been what's going on. I've been still chatting with the guy I've been seeing who is currently in India. We've just been texting a little bit. Nothing
Oh,
crazy.
nice.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where that goes. I think we are still technically seeing each other. I don't know. It's just a weird hiatus.
Well, he's
But
in another country.
I
Yes.
understand this.
Um.
So we'll see where
Okay.
that goes.
Good.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm
Yeah.
happy to hear that.
So TBD. TBD.
All right. Well,
But yeah, otherwise I think things are all right. For the most part. Still
yeah.
alive, still breathing. Woke up this morning. I was like, here I am. Still present.
Still present, and
Yeah.
so we're a week away from tomorrow's the penultimate Picard episode, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then we have the finale and Strange New Worlds next week.
Yes, I'm excited for non-serialized storytelling. I'm really ready for it. Thank God. Yeah, we can talk about more of that in a minute. But yes, I'm ready for non-serialized storytelling. I'm ready for just some new adventures. So,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
mhm.
It's kind of cool to see all of this stuff being put out there for a new show, which we haven't had since Prodigy, I guess. Oh, and there we go. I guess that's
call and response.
Yeah, apparently that's a
Oh my.
oh my.
Oh my.
We're in this phase. I forgot. We haven't recorded this early in a while.
Yeah, we've been recording at like 9:30 or 10.
Yeah, and we're doing it like at 6:45, 7 o'clock, and This is usually when someone kind of comes alive in the
Oh,
evening.
I see. Got it.
So I had forgotten this because we haven't recorded live at this time,
He
and
needs a muzzle.
usually I'm like cooking dinner or whatever at this time. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, so someone is demanding attention, which is, he's got this playful burst of energy. But anyway, but yeah, so it's kind of cool. I don't know. Yeah, I'm enjoying all the like little things that they did. I'm trying to remember what show had this sort of like imagery and stuff released for it. It wasn't Prodigy. I want to say maybe it was Picard, I
Prodigy
guess.
had a decent amount, but not this much. I think Picard probably had a little bit
Had
more.
a lot more, yeah. So it
Yeah.
feels like a long time since we've seen this kind of blitz of PR.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. They're doing all these another set of. I mean, I just saw a Picard. I just saw a Pike, little 1 minute
Featurette.
video. Yeah, featurette. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's exciting. I mean, Anson Mount is just great. I'm so psyched for this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
really like Anson Mount. He has a lot of, and we talked about it before, but he has a lot. I think he's a perfect blend of gravitas and authority, but then also he has this like lightheartedness to him. So he's not like too serious, you know?
right. Yeah,
He does a good
yeah.
job of
It's sort
balancing
of
that.
yeah. He's sort of if you go back to the early days of Star Trek, he's kind of like a balance between like in between Kirk and Picard.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. When you're talking about like early Trek.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so I'm excited for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
coming up. And I'm still waiting to see if we get invites. Well, if I get an invite, you will get an invite, but you won't be going to the premiere here in New York
Wait, did
City.
you ask our sci-fi sisters if they're up for having brunch? For
Oh,
the
with everything that happened yesterday,
All right.
um, I did. Who did I did mention it to Sabrina?
Sabrina?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I forgot that. So yeah, oh, I told you I have something at 1 o'clock on Saturday,
Right. So
but
that's why I was like, oh, let's do an
yeah,
early brunch.
so let me now that my life is somewhat back to normal,
All right.
let me float it out to them. But Sabrina was up for it for sure. They're all
Okay.
coming up here for that.
It just depends if they're planning to like hang out in the city before or what, you know. So
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
I forget where Yvette lives. So, if it's in Westchester, then that probably
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. But if they're in the Bronx, then maybe it does. So we'll have to
Yeah.
see. But yeah, I would
Well,
love to.
we won't know until one of us asks. So
Yes, I
there we go.
will do so after this recording. I will send a
Yes.
message to them
Yes,
and
but no, I most likely I don't know what time the premiere is, the red carpet is, but I most likely can't make it because friend's 40th birthday. That's like I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Well, would you miss a friend's 40th birthday? I don't know. That just feels weird, As a
Yeah,
close
yeah,
friend,
sure.
it's not like
Oh, okay.
third tier, because I have third tier friends.
Yes.
This is tier one. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah. Then no.
So
I mean, sadly, right now I'm missing a friend's 50th birthday in Miami.
I was like, you're
Um,
missing it because of this recording. I was like,
no,
not worth it.
no, because
Okay,
of
because it's a
all.
destination birthday.
Correct. Yes, it's in
Then
Miami,
that's
and
different. Yeah.
yeah, that was I really did want to go and had funds and life been a little bit differently, I probably would have. But we just came back from Chicago. I have a crazy week at work.
I
Like
understand.
literally, it's just so yeah, I really
Well, so
couldn't
we'll
make it
see.
to work.
Well, there's a Stranger Worlds potential premiere that we may or may not be invited to for this
Right.
Saturday. Then what else we have
Yes.
upcoming? We have the Mary Wiseman play that it's the third try.
Yes.
Third time's a charm.
So far,
For
we
us
have
to
not
see at the
been canceled
wedding.
for that.
Get
And
canceled again, but now we're gonna see it like May 21st or whatever.
yes.
And I bought us tickets to see the motion picture on the big screen. which I'm actually a
Yes.
little excited for.
Yeah, I am too. I've never seen it on the big
I've
screen.
never seen it in theaters, and it's not the most exciting movie, but
No.
I'm excited to like see it like in 4K, whatever, and in surround sound, and it's like they've remastered it, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah, it's got a a new soundtrack, which I do have the new soundtrack.
I think it is
I-
still 140 minutes, but it's fine.
it's fine. Yeah.
Fine.
Yes, there is a possibility that one or both of us may sleep through part of it.
I like when they're going through the wormhole. I can't with the wormhole.
Oh, the wormhole. I was thinking the length of times that it takes when they get into V'ger versus they actually get to V'ger itself is a long
The
time.
journey through V'ger.
Yes,
Yes.
the journey through V'ger is a lot. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's exciting, and we've plotted out our because of all the things. Well, you're traveling for work, and I
You're
am.
traveling. I'm
I'm traveling.
traveling. And then we both have a lot of life events going on. So
Yeah.
in May.
So in May. So yeah.
Correct. So our schedules are going to be all over the place. But nevertheless, our listeners will be getting one episode per week in May.
We are the most
It's gonna
consistent.
happen.
We are the most consistent podcast. We do draft weekly. Which
No one else drops weekly this consistently.
No. At this rate,
where's my gold star?
I know, right? At this point, we're gonna reach 100. By the end of the year.
Is this 79 or 80?
I don't know. No, I think this is 79.
79. Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
So let me see. Yes, 7. This is 79.
Okay.
As I look at files.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we're 20 weeks away from big 100.
Okay, 20 weeks. Well, this is assuming that we also are dropping weekly during the summer, which
right. Yes, which we're still deciding about.
We might need to take a bit of a hiatus when you're in Asia.
Correct. Yes. Well, we'll definitely need to take a hiatus. It's whether we get the opportunity to pre-record like we did last year, but that was because last year we were going through like our favorite an off-kilter episode of each of the seasons of Next Generation and Deep Space Nine.
Right. Yeah. We could work. We could bank content.
Yeah, we could bank contact. This year may be tougher. We were actually just talking about this, like a potential schedule post Strange New Worlds of things, and
I'm surprised they haven't announced anything yet. But
yeah,
maybe they're waiting for Picard to end and then they'll announce what's next.
Yeah, I think they're focused on Strange New Worlds right now. Everything is all about Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
So yeah. So we'll see, but yeah, we'll have to figure it out. I don't know. I do not know what's gonna happen. Yeah. Anyway, how about yeah, we're already like 20 minutes into this, I think. So maybe we should talk a little bit about Mercy, episode 208 of Picard. Let's see. A brief description. With time running out before the launch of the Europa mission, Picard and Guinan must free themselves from FBI custody. Seven and Raffi come face to face with Girardi and the horror of what she's become.
Whole life's built around this job. Still, knew I'd get the axe one day.
You've been fired? Why?
Man who cried alien and was wrong once again.
But paperwork was filed.
Oh, I lied. I knew if I gave them proof, they'd sideline me, send you to a military site. I wanted to be the one who proved it. At least I thought I did. Kind of a waste of a life, though.
Maybe not. My species, we believe in an ebb and flow to things. That our destinies run apart and together. And that time is not what we think it is. And that some moments are meant to happen, even at great cost. Perhaps you had to be that boy.
So I could be this man here letting you go? Something to think about.
Wow.
Where did you read the summary from? Is this Memory Alpha?
No, from Paramount
Oh,
Plus.
okay.
My
Got it.
favorite app ever. You know,
Of course.
5 stars. 5 stars for this app.
Yes.
5 stars.
Endless complaints, endless notes. Oh my God.
Endless. Could go on and on, but we won't because we have already.
Because we've done that before and we've grown as people. So we won't do that.
I mean, we are not doing it because we don't have time and we don't have any specific complaints right now.
We don't need to rehash. That's fine.
So Johnson, we have 3 storylines this week. Maybe 4. Gosh, a lot is going on. Yeah. I guess we sort of have 4 storylines. So I think we should just run through the episode because that's a lot of storylines to keep track of.
Well, do you want to start with like high level thoughts or something?
Yes. Yeah. Of course. I was just about to ask you about your overall thoughts of this episode.
Well, Mike, I do have to re-emphasize. I only want to hear original thoughts only. I don't want you to rehash any of the bullshit you had on Discovering Trek. All right.
I will try my best. I cannot guarantee that my notes are not up in front of me for review.
All right. So I enjoy this episode more than the last 2 episodes, though I feel the bar is somewhat low because I really didn't enjoy Fly Me to the Moon and I didn't love Monsters. If only because we're finally, we're finally getting the battle lines drawn essentially, and things are kind of we're finally inching forward and things are converging and you can see how things are lining up, where the characters are going to be, because they really are setting things up for the final 2 episodes. So I'm thankful that we're at least progressing, if you know what I mean. It's like, again, the bar is low for me because I'm like, I found like, okay, things are happening. There are things that I'm still kind of like, there are things that about the episode where I'm just a little confused. The Q thing, we got a little bit, but it's still super murky. And I'm kind of like, at this point, honestly, I wish we would have more clarity like 3 episodes ago, but here we are. We got a little bit more in terms of what Q wants, but it's still all like, it's all, we're guessing because he's still being very cryptic. And I'm like, all right, like, it's like the serialized Star Trek syndrome, it's like nothing's gonna reveal until like episode 9. And then we have 5 seconds to like wrap things up. My overall thought is that I'm just concerned that we're not going to get everything wrapped up in a way that is satisfactory. That's really my main concern for this season, based upon where we are right now. That's my overall gist.
Yeah, there are a lot of strings that are still. So we've got the strings that have been there forever, like the Q string. And then we have all these new strings that include Corey and this group of commandos and Sung and, Teresa.
I can't say properly, so I'm just going to say Teresa.
Okay. And her son, Ricardo. So I think that there's a lot. Yeah, there is a lot. Yeah, I feel like from a storytelling point of view, we are going to see a lot of things. We aren't going to see a lot of things that happen, quote unquote, off screen. And we're going to have to like fill in the blanks.
Yeah, there are a few of those things already, which we can talk about. Like, it's just like we can be spending, instead of chasing Chris throughout the streets of LA for like 2 episodes and the gala for the heist, which wasn't even that compelling.
The heist not a heist? It
could have been just tightened up, and then we could have spent more time. Like even like there were definitely things in this episode which we'll talk about where it's like things jump, and I'm like, okay, I think this is what happened if I had to make a guess, but it's still. But why do I need to? Why I'm not seeing things happening versus I'm guessing this happened?
Right.
And I was talking to a coworker, one coworker that is a big Star Trek fan, and he immediately he's on the West Coast, but literally he like he Zoom chats me at like 1 a.m. like last Thursday, and he's like complaining about the episode because he's hating this season. Like he's very critical. He's more critical than I am, I think.
Is that
and he's like,
possible? Is that possible?
He said, I'm slightly more interested in the last 2 episodes only to see how this train wreck unfolds. Will it be infuriating, dumb, or boring? And I said, well, to be honest, it could be all 3. So I don't know. It's possible. He's not a fan of Picard at all.
Okay. Well,
he's kind of like hate watching it. Unfortunately. So
so I have 2 thoughts. One, I want to say once again that this is a different Picard story, and this show is about Picard, and the only reason Patrick Stewart came back is because he wanted to do something different. So
there's nothing wrong with different. That doesn't make it better. Like
no. I'm saying that people are saying that this isn't the Star Trek that I wanted with Picard returning.
I don't think that's his problem.
Okay.
That's not my problem. I'm okay with different. Like like. Different's good. Like we both really like Prodigy, and we both really like Lower Decks, for example. Yeah. Those are so different and such deviations from what we're used to, but we like them because they're clever or they're tightly written, or you know what I mean? Like even in season 1 of Prodigy, I thought was really strong. We both really liked it. By the end, we were like, wow, all came together. They did a great job. There's like character growth. Everyone got a chance to shine. You know what I mean? Like. Mm-hmm. And that Prodigy is not your standard Star Trek at all. It's a complete new angle, and they married that they did it versus Picard. I would say Prodigy has done a really good job marrying new stories with nostalgia. They've done a really good job balancing that.
Yeah.
Picard does that once in a while, but it's in my mind, it's very unbalanced. Lower Decks had so many fans, and maybe at first people were like skeptical, but then I think people after they saw it, they were like, "This is actually great," So
this is out of the last couple, I would say this is my favorite, and I think it's partly because Kristen Beyer was co-writing this, and she's just amazing. She's this to me felt like a really well written chapter, and it reminded me of this idea that what we're watching here is more of a book than this is another chapter in the book, and that we've had 8 chapters so far, and now tomorrow we'll have the 9th chapter of this act 2 or book 2 or whatever you want to call it. And I thought this is really well written and kind of highlights the fact that we do have all these strings kind of going, and Kristen Beyer is just an amazing writer, so I felt like this was, even though it
was one of the better episodes.
It was, we are introducing some new strings, or there have been some newer strings in this episode, in this season, like later in the season, that we're not quite as happy about. And, but I thought this was really well written. I enjoyed all the different scenes. I thought they really flowed well together. So I was a fan of this episode. I really enjoyed it. I think I think we can talk about a couple of things that are kind of key to this episode, because I think the things that I want to hear from you are about Q and Girardi. I want to hear your thoughts on the scene with Guinan and Q, which some of the memes I love are, this is the unforgotten like CSI Q continuum story or something like that, which I thought was really cute.
That's cute.
And then, I want to hear what your thoughts are on where the Girardi storyline is going, because I think we know where it ends up, or to be more specifically, where it began. So those are 2 of the things. And then the other thing that I think is really fascinating about this story is the Corey piece of this, just because of what she says to Sung, and kind of the cliff that Sung is looking at right now, and so, and we still, I'm not throwing this in, but I'm just saying we still have this Europa mission that's kind of still rolling around in there. So anyway, let's start with
Uh-huh.
Q. What are your thoughts on the Q scene and what's going on with Q? Do you have some theories? Did you enjoy, first of all, did you enjoy Guinan and Q's little banter?
Yeah, no, I was okay with it. I thought it was fine. I like I kind of already prefaced, I feel that we got a little bit more about what's going on with Q, but most of it we knew already. Like because I did watch this episode twice, and I was trying to see if I could glean any additional information.
Mhm.
But 90% of what he said, it wasn't any new news. The only two pieces of new news that I feel that we got was he's very cryptically like, can I don't remember, I should have written it down, but you may remember the quote. He's like, can something like, like justify a lifetime or something like that? Can you know what I'm talking about?
Hmm. Well, there's I think this is
I was going to say two things. So it's like that, and then the other thing that he said was, it's not about the trap, it's about the escape.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the other quote. So there were two quotes that I thought were kind of interesting. But again, it's kind of like just cryptic. So the first quote, I'm like looking it up to see if I can find it and see if it's like a memory alpha somewhere. I'm hoping that someone smarter than me actually like wrote down like what this quote was. But it's uncertain.
Well, what do you think about while you're looking for that, what do you think about the whole escape versus the trap? What are your thoughts on that?
So I think that's what, I think that at the end of the day, so Q said that he didn't send Picard back in time. Picard did it himself, and that it's not about the trap, it's about the escape. So I think at the end of the day, what Q wants, this all goes back to Q wanting Picard to learn something. So it's not about the destination. It's basically saying it's not about the destination or where you are. It's about the journey. That's what he's saying, right?
Okay. That's what you think he's saying. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So that's what I think he's saying. And at the end of the day, he's saying that it's Picard's actions that are going to allow him to escape. That's going to teach him whatever. Maybe it's about, we can see it two ways, right? Maybe it's about escaping the 21st century, or it's about maybe escaping his past, like escaping because Q obviously knows that, he has these, this trauma, these burdens, whatever, right? So I think there is a duality here. But to me, that still doesn't really answer the larger question of why this, why Q went to all these lengths to, to get all this set up and, to mess up the timeline. And he's obviously, he's making an effort. Like, he needs to sit through like therapy sessions with Renee. Like he needs to like hack Adam Soon's like computer. He needs to like screw with Corey. Like it's a lot of effort. I mean, like he's smart, but I'm like, that's a lot of effort. And then he like delivered a package right when like he knew that Corey was like, like using the VR headset. I mean, a lot of things were like, whatever. But it's just like a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort. And then, especially given that he doesn't have his powers, right? Like there's a lot of like manualness to set all this up. So I'm like, this is a lot of effort.
So that's one of my questions. Like, I think that what's really unclear here is what is his powers and what isn't, because I think that actually is the delivery of the gift, as well as the ability to be both the psychologist, the being in the VR headset, being able to go appear to Sung, and what was the other thing he did? Did one other thing, like all of this. So one of the things that and I think, if you don't know, LA is pretty spread out. Like shit is not close to each other.
I'm well aware. I'm well aware.
Right, you are. Yes.
Complain about LA and how terrible it is.
Yes. I know you know this, but maybe our listeners don't. LA is really spread out. So him doing all this stuff seems like he's not snapping his fingers. He can't snap his fingers.
Right. He's taking Ubers everywhere.
Yes, he's taking Ubers everywhere. But this is ridiculous. Like, the amount of yes, I just don't get what powers he has and what powers he doesn't have right now, and so I think that's confusing in and of itself.
It is a little confusing because I mean, but in my mind, it's like maybe he's just like really smart and he can like, hack things and like, he could be just he's not omniscient, but he's lived a long time and he can
again, that's a lot of speculation and a lot of work.
No, it's a lot of speculation and
a lot of work on our part as the
right.
viewers to figure this all out.
And I feel it's stuff that we shouldn't have to guess, like we shouldn't have, like it could be something that we can see very clearly. I finally found the quote, by the way. He said, Q, so it says on Memory Alpha, Q conceives that he now has a lifetime because Guinan's like, you're dying. So he conceives that he now has a lifetime and he's wondering if a single act can change a lifetime. And I was like, that's interesting. So, I'm assuming when he says, because he's wondering, right, can a single act change a lifetime? I'm assuming he's talking about his own lifetime, like, because he's saying he literally right before prefaces it with, I now have a lifetime. And he's saying, can a single act change a lifetime? And I'm like, so the single act, he wants to redeem, save something, Picard. Is that what he's talking about? And he's wondering if that can redeem, through that he can redeem himself. But I'm like, that's a lot of, I don't understand. Like, I know that he's had a fixation with Jean-Luc, but that's a lot to hinge on what single, I don't know, it's still very murky to me, like what his intentions are, because at the beginning, if you recall, at the beginning of the season, we thought that maybe he wanted, he wants Picard to save him, but it's no longer clear to me. I don't know what you think. It's no longer clear to me if that's the intention, or if he just wants to like redeem himself somehow by, saving Picard, quote unquote, save Picard. I don't know anymore.
So here's my theory on this. I think that he's dying and that they have given him a human lifetime at this point. Like, he is human. I actually think that
Continuum has.
I think this is some sort of punishment or something, but he is dying because he is now human. Okay. So I think that's that piece of it. So the other quote about it's about the escape, not the trap. So Q is focused on the escape. Picard is focused on the trap and trying to figure that all out.
Q is focused on the escape. Can you elaborate?
Sure. I mean, Q says, the quote is, it's about the escape, not the trap. And that's Q saying that. So for Q, it is about the escape.
For Picard to escape.
It's about what happens. So the way that I'm interpreting that is it's about Q escaping this time frame.
Oh, but right before he says that Picard, that the problem is like, well, again, maybe I need to rewatch the episode, but because Guinan was like, oh, you sent Picard into the past, and then he's like, oh, and sorry.
No, he said, I did not send him into the past.
Let me finish. All right.
Well, you didn't let me finish. Hold on. Like, all this is fine. The whole
you
thing.
Finish first, and then I will.
Yes, I will. So I actually think that he's human. I think the escape is that Q needs Jean-Luc to take him back to the future. I think that he is human and he cannot no longer travel through time, and Picard has to choose to bring Q back with him to the future. And that's why it's about the escape from this time back to their present, quote unquote, the 25th century.
Okay.
And that is what this is all about. Like, somehow Q did not send him back, but he chose, and for whatever reason, Q is there somehow. I can't explain all the details of this, but I really feel like the big deal here is that at the end of this season, Q needs Picard to take him with him, and I think that Picard is actually going to do that. That's my prediction. Picard is somehow going to be inclined to take Q back to the future with him. And to tie into that, I think this is my theory, is that because for some reason, and this breaks canon, but it makes sense logistically, right? This makes sense logistically to me anyway, to anyone who's logical, is that the fact is you cannot bring more people back in time than you brought back in time, if that makes sense.
Say that one more time.
So they brought 6 of them back, 7. The number doesn't matter. Whatever it is, 7 people back in time. So they've 7 of them journeyed back in time. They can't bring more than 7 back to the future.
Why? Where are you getting this from?
This is what logically makes sense to me in the scheme of time travel, of things like that. So,
but they've done that before.
I'm saying, listen to what I'm saying. Hold on.
I know you said it breaks canon, but I just
it breaks canon. But I'm saying there's some sort of balance that, because the universe likes balance, the balance is important. There's going to be some reason that there has to be a balance of what goes back to the future that came from the future in the number of people. So Elnor is dead. However, so is the queen, as a matter of fact. So maybe that sort of explains it. But anyway, I just feel like there's some sort of balance that I know you're going to poke 1,000 holes in this, but just let me finish.
I'm not interrupting
you. For once, I know. But I really think that they're going to have to take Q back to the future with them, and that's going to be the reason. For some reason they can't, and Rios is going to decide to stay in the past. And that's the balance of things, like the number of whatever.
Why do you feel Q needs to go back to the future?
Because my theory is that season 3 is all about fixing Q or saving Q and bringing him back to the continuum, and the only way he's going to be able to do that, I think there's 2 things going on. I think they'll have to deal with the Borg threat in season 3, and I think they'll also have to restore or help Q in some way, and that's also why he'll need to get the crew back together, is that they'll need to do something that in order to help Q go back.
But I guess my larger question is, why did Q then mess up everything in the first place?
I don't know that I think maybe to attract Picard to that point. Like maybe he was actually maybe he had his powers for use the last of his powers to make things happen in the 25th century, and his little conversation with Picard in the chateau, and then he disappears and they never see him again, right? I think that may have been the last use of his energies.
Well, Picard sees him when they're traveling back in time.
Right. I think that's, maybe there's some sort of echo there, or maybe whatever. I can't explain every little thing, but I think that the Q continuum banished him to the Earth's past, and he's messing up things so that Picard has to come back and eventually save him and bring him back to the future. And then he's causing all of these issues because he knows that Picard has to deal with things, but also because he needs Picard to come to some sort of understanding that maybe there's some similarity, maybe there's some commonality for Q to make between, him and Picard that will allow him to have empathy for Q and bring him back and help him in the next season.
I think the issue I have with this is that, the weird thing is we've seen this before. When I don't remember the name of the episode, but when Q lost his powers and he was
sure, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure, I'm not saying that this is completely without holes, but there are some things here that make sense to me, and I think that I really think that Q is either being punished or his death is to die as a human because he's so fascinated with humans. But somehow he has a little bit of his power left. I don't know how or what. Obviously, we've just discussed that. But I think that they've stranded him in the Earth's past in a place where chaos and kind of he's never going to get out of this. They think, right? So I think that that's part of the adventure here is that, and so Q is smart and causes all this chaos to attract the attention of Picard to change things. But the one thing I will say about this season that I've enjoyed is that it has ignited my my imagination to the point where I can think of all these different scenarios. I'm perfectly happy being wrong with any of these, but I've enjoyed with this season of Picard being able to kind of speculate on what they're trying to do here. And the writing has been such that, I think this is one of the stronger written episodes, but I think it leaves enough leeway with what is said and what is not said that kind of allows you to fill in this. So that's sort of my running theory right now as to what's happening. My problem, and I think I agree with your coworker and with you, I think that we're going to find a lot of gaps in the storytelling as we kind of move into the penultimate episode tomorrow and the finale next week. I think that they are going to make it back to the future somehow. I don't exactly know how yet, because there's a lot of speculation about that Borg ship in the 25th century and what it potentially could be, meaning the La Sirena. But so I don't know how they're going to get back there if the La Sirena is taken over by the Borg. But anyway,
the
reason why that ship that they
is the end of episode 1 rather is Borg, the Borgified version of the La Sirena.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a running theory. I don't know. We don't know, but I think that you're right. We're going to see a lot of gaps in storytelling from the next 2 episodes, where we're going to have to fill things in, kind of like we've had to fill things in all season long. Only this time around, I think as we approach the finale, we're going to see that, things aren't going to necessarily make sense. And that's going to be frustrating, I think, for a lot of us, where, we would like some more on-screen explanation of things, but we'll kind of see.
And I know you never were a fan of Lost.
No, actually I was. I was. You were? Yeah.
No, did you finish it? Did you finish all of Lost?
Oh yeah, I finished it, and I at one point, way a long time ago, in the early days of Hulu, I would rewatch it a little bit, but I never finished. I've never been through it twice.
Okay, me neither. So I feel that this is serialized Lost syndrome, where you add and compound the questions and the mysteries. And it's sometimes fun to talk about, because I think one of the best things I enjoy about Lost was the water cooler conversation, right? If you recall, it was just like, a lot of people are like, what's going on? Like, what's this, like, another vault, like, what's the lighthouse? There was a lot of
all these things,
all this mythology. And then at the end, none of it was answered. And I think that for me, I think I was in the camp where I was annoyed that we were left with no answers, essentially. Like, what was the island? We never got a true response to that, right? But I did enjoy the journey a little bit, because it was so much just theorizing, and it was fun for people to, because basically everyone became like a conspiracy theorist, right? Like everyone was there's like one little clue in this episode probably means all these things. And it really wasn't. It was just like, people are going crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel that, we're getting this now with new serialized Star Trek, where it's like they just add mystery upon mystery, and we start to like just do a lot of guesswork. And then I'm not sure to what you're saying. I'm not sure the end result is actually going to be that satisfying. Like, maybe the journey's fun to a certain extent. I'm more oriented towards like, I'd rather have answers than questions personally. But here we are.
I think so. So we've kind of gone over Q. What are your thoughts on Girardi?
Did we talk? Did you have another prompt about Guinan, or was that kind of it?
I mean, I thought I really liked Guinan in this episode. I mean, I think Ito Aguirre does a great job with the role and playing this. So,
so the only reason why I brought it up, because I one thing that really, it bothered me a little bit and made me think a lot, was something that Guinan says to Jean-Luc after, like, once they're about to get out. I don't know if you're going to circle back on like Agent Wells. Or
Oh
whatever.
yeah. Go. I think I know where you're going with this. Go for it.
But that the one when Guinan says to Picard that the one thing that she's forgotten and she now has realized essentially about humans is how unique they are in the universe, because they can be stuck in the past, and before they can move on, they need to reconcile their past and grow. And evolve.
Interesting. I didn't think of that. I don't remember. I thought you were gonna talk a little bit about what she says to Wells at the end of the episode.
Well, it's similar, right? Because like she talks about how humans need to reconcile their past in order to move forward. And then for Wells, she was like, yeah, maybe, it's like maybe it was your fate or destiny to kind of be here.
Right. Yeah.
But to get there, you had to he had to kind of reconcile his past, right?
Yeah.
I actually really was bothered by the statement. Which I don't know why I kind of hung on. I kind of
Which statement exactly?
The statement where she was like, one thing that she feels is really unique about humans that is different is that our ability to need to like change and evolve by reconciling our pasts. Something along those lines.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to see if I can find the exact quote.
I mean, I think I get the gist, and I don't want to belabor too many quotes here to move on with this with our thoughts on the story, but
I just it bothered me because it's not. I think we've seen in Star Trek that's not a pure human trait. I think we see this across many characters. It's not so unique to humanity. And sometimes I feel that in the effort to kind of, and this is my statement, like, then I don't think everyone can agree with me, but sometimes I think in an effort to paint a really bright, hopeful future for humanity, Star Trek puts humanity on a pedestal, in terms of our unique place in the universe. And this actually brought me back really randomly to Star Trek 6 at Undiscovered Country. If you remember, it's at that dinner scene, and they're the awkward dinner, and
yes, of course,
I think it was Bones said something like, he's talking about like inalienable rights or whatever, and then Azabor is like, inalienable rights. If you can only hear yourself, human rights. The Federation is nothing. This is from memory. The Federation is nothing but a Homo sapiens only club. And sometimes I feel that is actually that's just not about the Federation, but I think sometimes it is very Star Trek. It's very human centric in the way that it sees the universe. And one thing,
but that's also sci-fi in general, though. Like that's the whole perspective of sci-fi is to learn something about humanity through looking through the eyes of others.
Sure, but one thing that I think is also interesting in Star Trek 6 is, if you remember at the end, which I really liked. This is when Kirk and Spock are together, and this is after Valeris is kind of outed as like the traitor.
Right. Yeah.
And Spock is kind of lamenting that he didn't see it, but then B, he's also talking about like, have we grown so old that we can't change, or we're kind of stuck or whatever. And then Kirk says to him, Spock, I have something to tell you. Like, that's very human of you. And then Spock was like, oh, I find that to be very insulting. And then Kirk was like, you know what? Everyone's human. And I think there is actually something very beautiful about that, because I don't think Kirk is actually saying everyone's human, but he's saying that everyone has a common humanity, no matter Homo sapiens or not. Everyone has a common humanity. And I think that is actually a much more beautiful picture, where it's like, no matter what kind of species you are, Homo sapiens or not, we all share like what we would call quote unquote humanity, which is we all have commonality, right? And I think that, for some reason, what Guinan said kind of like cascaded in my mind. And I was like, yeah, but I don't think humans are that unique. If anything, I think it's about the greater picture about how we are all, even despite our differences with other species, we all have common, these common ways that we live life and evolve and grow. And actually, I didn't like what Guinan said. It really bothered me.
Oh.
and I know it didn't bother you, obviously, but it really bothered me. Because I mean, like, I think that is something, that we sometimes forget about,
Oh, see, I was more impacted by her statement, and I don't have the exact quote, but basically she says, like, maybe things had to happen to you in order to be at this point in your life. For Wells, it's this point in life where things happen and he lets them go. But for me, what Guinan is saying is, that everything that happens to you creates the person you are today, and you wouldn't be the same person without all the things that have happened to you.
Sure.
And for me, that is a resoundingly true statement. I've definitely thought about things in my life that have happened, and I wish that they hadn't happened, or I wish I hadn't done something. And every experience that I've had has pushed me to be this human who is now talking to you on this podcast right now. Otherwise that, all those little things might not have happened. So, I think that was the more powerful statement for me that she said, which was, just that, everything that happens to you and makes you who you are today. So that's what I really enjoyed about that.
Sure. I do wonder, because it was kind of, I didn't quite know, because Wells kind of just like let them go, but it wasn't clear to me if he was going to help them further. Or because Jean-Luc was like, oh yeah, now I realize I need your help. And then literally the only thing is he opens the door. He's like, because you guys got to go. And I'm like, wait, is he going to do anything else? That was a little bit unclear to me.
Yeah, no, I think,
or is that it?
I think that's definitely it. I think that for Wells at that point in his life, I don't think that there's anything else he can do. Like, he's at the beginning of that transformational journey where he realizes that everything that happened to him brought him to this point, and now he looks at life differently moving forward. Whereas he looked before at the experience with the Vulcans and how that affected him negatively, and how he's always had that in his mind negatively. And for, all that's happened in this interrogation and through what Picard has told him and what Guinan says to him is the kind of beginning of the next phase of his life. But I don't think unless he's going to somehow show up at Europa mission or whatever.
Maybe, or we see that they're going to like lay siege to the Confederate.
Well, yeah, I don't think he's gonna somehow get to France. I think
in Picard, I don't know. Sometimes there are
I don't think that's possible, but I do think that what's possible is that he could somehow save them from something happening at the Europa mission. That's what I think, maybe. But I didn't. I kind of saw this as the kind of end of this Wells piece and this little side quest, as we like to call it here on Deep Space Pride. All the side quests that happened this season.
There are many side quests.
There are. So
I didn't mind this one as much, to be honest, because it kind of.
Oh wow! I'm actually. This is so when this initially started, I would say either an episode like. For us, our podcast episode, either last episode or two episodes, you were like, do we need another side quest?
Correct. But the reason why I didn't mind it is because it echoes Picard's own journey. Like,
okay, sure.
Like,
yeah.
He's also stuck
of accepting his trauma and things like that. Yeah.
And
sure,
at least it's thematically relevant versus like chasing Rios across LA because he's been arrested by ICE for 2.5 episodes. I'm like, all right. Yeah. So anyway, so I actually didn't mind it. I actually
okay. Well, that's I don't know if that's growth, but we'll take it. That's great. Okay.
I don't know. I would not chalk out to growth.
And there we go. There it is. We're back to square zero. So I think for me later on in this episode, or a piece of this episode that was really, really shocking. So, we could talk about the Raffi 7 Girardi scene, but I think that that's pretty straightforward in a lot of ways. I don't think there's.
Are you talking about Elnor?
No. I'm not even talking about Elnor. No, that's a whole nother thing. Maybe we can talk about that later, or next week. My thought is this whole idea of Girardi and Sung. Like that piece was completely out of left field. Like when he,
Yeah, it was very out of left field. I was like, why is he just letting her access his computer? It was like, I had
well, no, I
all
wasn't even that. Like when she showed up at his place, I was like, whoa, like wow, that was probably one of the most surprising pieces of this season for me was the Borg Queen showing up at Sung's. And
yeah, no, it was surprising. I mean, I kept like once they were trying to track her, I was like, I feel I know where she's going.
oh, see, I had no idea. And then the scene cut and she pops into his house and I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my word.
I had
So
an idea, yeah.
so but it's, you know, it is nice to see Girardi is still in there somewhere, saving Raffi, but I am, yeah, I this whole new, like she's becoming a full on Borg queen. She's at the end of the episode, she
Alison Pill is
assimilates.
doing a great job imitating.
Oh my god, yes,
imitating what's her face? Oh my
Annie
god.
Wershing.
Thank you. I was like,
yeah, she is really channeling like the different you know, talking to herself in two different voices is really impressive, you know, except when they do those occasional cuts with the Borg Queen in there. But yeah, it was Alison Pill is killing it this season. Really, she is. And you know, I wish that this horrible thing was
this season, total MVP.
Yeah, she goes from like the least valuable player of last season to the most valuable player of this season for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, I was.
I mean, they did give her a lot to work with, but like, it's great.
Yeah, I you know, but I'm kind of sad for her character in the sense that this is what, you know, this is where it's going. You know what I'm saying? Like this is we're going. This is where we began this season, right? With her, you know, playing the Borg Queen in the, you know, episode 1. So now that we, you know, we pretty much can surmise that, I think. But I guess there could be a last minute shocker, you know, if they decide to do that. But yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. I'm glad that we're kind of consolidating the storylines so we have a clear view as to what the setup for the finale is going to be, at least, because
I think we'll have a better idea of that after tomorrow's episode. But yes,
but
because we do still have a lot of little things.
No, and not to go back to Q, but I also was like, I wasn't entirely like sure, and we need to, I think, talk after the finale, because why is Q messing with Corey to mess, you know, obviously he's messing with Corey to mess with Adam Sung, but why I'm still not quite sure why, like, you know, Q's doing that.
Well, I think there's a possibility, you know, this is one theory that I've heard, is that Corey will continue the Sung line and not in the crazy way that Adam Sung would carry on the line, right? So there is that piece. Do
you think that she would carry his name? Like, that's weird. Especially,
well, I think she carries the name forward, and that's how we get whatever Eric Sung from Enterprise.
That doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't get like last name, like at least in most situations, not all. You know.
Well, you're making a assumption based on how
Correct.
hundreds of years.
But do you think Corey would want to name her child after her disgraced father? Like, that makes no sense whatsoever.
I think she'll come to accept that she's a Sung no matter what, and I think that's sort of where the future.
All right. Well, we're making like massive leaps in assumptions.
Well, so. It's a possibility anyway. I don't think that Adam Sung is going to suddenly have children and real children and pass along his name.
Yeah, I don't know.
And you know, I don't see that happening.
It's also unclear to me, like, if she was created using his genetic material, because it's not like they look alike, like in any way.
I definitely think that. Yeah, I think she was definitely cloned from him. Yes,
they look nothing alike.
Again, but it doesn't. that does not matter to the fact
No,
that
because it does matter.
it doesn't matter because
no,
Data
it does matter
picks
because
her.
everyone in Stone Line looks the same. Like, this is the problem.
The males do, but suddenly
the females look
so
completely
do...
different. Oh my god, that makes
no.
sense.
The females look. Corey looks the same as the daughter that Data paints in the picture that ends up being Daj and or Soji
right,
that ends
whatever.
up being
just-
all
we're
of that.
gonna-
Like all of that's carried
I
through.
completely disagree with this. I completely disagree with this, so it's fine.
There's a shock. We disagree on something, but anyway.
We can move on. Wait, we were talking about Girardi, and
We were talking about Girardi,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I think my other big question about this is I guess, you know, the only reasonable explanation is that the Borg Queen is manipulating Sung because she doesn't want the future where he is the grandfather of Earth, you know, Confederate Earth, right? Like, that's not like the future that she wants, but she's leading him down this path. So I'm kind of like, okay, obviously it doesn't make sense that she would want that future. So she's just manipulating him. But I also am like, why doesn't she just kind of like assimilate, you know, even though the assimilation process is not like, you know, like it's half baked, like can't she just control him? Why does she need his cooperation? Like, because obviously by the end we see that she has some semblance of control over these like mercenaries. So I'm like, why even like risk the possibility that Adam Sung is going to create that future? Why not, like, you know, put a pin in it and just take him over, some quote unquote assimilate him, and make sure that future never happens? Like, I'm not quite sure. That was also confusing.
Maybe she. Like, I don't think she has that kind of power over the like control over someone so willed. Adam Sung, no matter how he's driven, he's got drive, he's got ambition. He's got all these things, and I think that what we're gonna find is these soldiers, which I think are the soldiers that Sung worked on, quote unquote, don't have that sort of thing and are very easily.
The mercenaries at the general.
Yeah, the mercenaries I think are from the projects that Sung has worked on.
Oh, you mean past military projects or something?
Yes, that he mentions in the episode where he's kind of presenting his case to the board. And so I think it's just, I think it's easy for her to control people who are, you know, who have strength but no like real drive or ambition. And she can't control him.
By what evidence are you making this thesis?
I mean, Adam Sung is a very driven, mad scientist. He is not going to let.
We see that the assimilation process does not impact who the Borg are able to assimilate. Obviously,
I think but she's not strong enough. She's not strong enough. She's not a full-fledged queen yet. She's still working this out. She needs dumb drones to help her. She can't control another fully.
How do you know that? You're making such broad assumptions.
That's a pretty good assumption. That's not a broad assumption. That's a really good assumption that she's just beginning her journey as queen.
But how do you know, by what measure are you saying, like, oh, someone's so woeful enough that he or she cannot be
because Girardi is still in there. She can't control Girardi, so
she's controlling Girardi pretty well. Let's be honest.
But not enough to do another person. Not enough to do another.
She killed the guy. She didn't kill Rocky.
No, I disagree. You're wrong. You're absolutely. You are completely wrong about this. She cannot control another willed, strong.
Wait, but you think that Girardi had no problems killing that guy that they found in the dumpster?
It was a nobody as far as she was concerned.
But you think Girardi would be okay with that? I don't understand.
You mean Girardi wasn't okay with her killing Rafi? She had some control with someone she cared about.
I think it's very minimal. I don't think that she's
no, but we're talking about the ability to control that the queen has. The queen is still fighting to control Girardi to some extent, as evidenced by the mercy that she shows Rafi. So there's not complete control there.
There's not complete control, but I think that in that case, that's
I don't know why you're dying on this hill. I honestly do not know why you are dying on this hill to think that she could inject nano probes into Adam Sung and control him the way that she could.
I just thought that it was a very odd choice. Yeah, no,
I don't think so.
All right.
You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong this time. You are so far wrong.
No basis for your thesis.
I do have plenty of basis.
He's too willful, so like
you just want to disagree. Yes, he's too strong-willed. He's too strong-willed. That's it.
All right.
She can't control another strong-willed individual. She can't. She's not that strong. So all right. So anything else with this episode?
Wait, are we done? We barely talked about Rafi and Seven though. Like in terms of their
what's to talk about? What do you want to what is there that's not obvious there that you want to like?
Well, I thought that it was interesting because I didn't expect the flashback to Eleanor and the extra story that we got there in terms of why Rafi, because I think that also helps to explain why Rafi is kind of written with the trauma of Eleanor dying than anyone else. I thought that was an interesting wrinkle. And it adds a little bit to what's happening right now. What are you doing?
I'm disciplining my dog. Continue, please.
Okay. No, I thought that was interesting. Because I didn't expect Eleanor to be back. And apparently he's gonna be back this week. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I thought that was an unexpected tidbit that we got. And yeah, I also thought that the whole thing where Seven they were kind of digging deeper into like what their triggers are essentially, where Seven was very triggered by Rafi telling her to kind of think like a Borg or whatever. But then Seven immediately lashes out with Rafi when it comes to how Rafi manipulates people, which I never really got. Like that was something like, that was an observation that Seven made, but that's never something that I really, I would say in the past really saw in terms of Rafi's personality, that she's a manipulator or that she needs, I don't know what you think about that, but that was something that I thought was a little bit interesting. Okay.
Ask your question again. I'm sorry.
My question was, I want to know what you thought when it comes to Seven's observation that Rafi is like a manipulator and that she needs to manipulate people to kind of like fit where she is.
Yeah, I thought that was I was surprised that Rafi kind of accepted that and took that in and kind of processed that and then shared about Eleanor. I was really surprised by that. The other thing that I
surprised that she didn't like react, because Rafi usually lashes out, right? So I was surprised that she didn't kind of lash out once. I think
that my thinking about Seven and Rafi is that it's a very complex relationship, the two of them, and that they've been together or been in each other's orbit or part of their lives for over a year now, at least. And so part of that is lesbian couples are very different than straight couples, as are gay couples. But in this case, I think that this is something where she actually heard what Seven said and it stuck, and then she felt guilty about it because she realized that she was manipulating the situation. So I think my feelings on, I love this relationship. Honestly, I really love the complexities, and people are struggling because this isn't like a romantic relationship that people are kind of hoping to see, or a lot of people are. This is a complex relationship between two people who both have full-time jobs essentially, and are trying to figure out how to be together, but still care very much about each other, as has been evidenced throughout this season. But the other thing too to remember for Rafi is that she is still in the throes of guilt and grief. Mm-hmm. And, because again, we're seeing, I think this season will make a lot more sense to a lot more people once you get to see it as a whole. And if you want to just sit down and rewatch it, you'll realize that this all happens over 3 days. Like this isn't happening over 10 weeks for us. And I think people forget that. I think people think, oh, last week, that was a different Raffi last week, and she's had another week to deal with the grief. No, she's had a few more hours, and she's still in the throes
Sure.
of grief. And so I think that her hearing this was amazing I think it's a testament to her and Seven's relationship, that she was able to hear that from Seven in such a intense situation that they're in, searching for all of this. And then to kind of associate this again with her grief of Elnor, but also sharing with someone very close to her that she cares deeply about and, has these visions of spending her life with, that she is actually the cause of Elnor's death because she manipulated him into staying in Starfleet or coming to Starfleet and not going back to his home planet and helping the sisters when they needed help. So I think that this was I love this growth with Raffi on this, and so yeah, I'm all about this. So I thought that it just shows a great complex LGBTQ relationship, which are, to some extent much more complex and not as straightforward as straight relationships. And also we're not seeing sort of the romantic side of this relationship too much, which people are kind of struggling with in a lot of ways, which is fine. It's not the same necessarily. It's not always, it's so, I think I really do. I really love their relationship in this season. I think it is really complex. Anyone who loves these characters should go and listen to the 1.5 to 90-minute audiobook that kind of tells a little bit of background between the two of them. It's acted by Michelle Hurd and Jerry Ryan, so it is it's a great great kind of piece to the puzzle for all of this. So I think that it's a great example of all of this. So I'm on board for it. I'm happy that Raffi kind of got the picture, like was able to do all that. But I think it's because it's a complex relationship and she really trusts Seven, and she catches herself and realizes that what Seven's saying to her is meaningful and she should listen.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that piece of it. So yeah. I'm all about the Seven Raffi relationship, and I think it's great to, especially we're a gay podcast, right? And I think it's great to see different types of relationships, and the Seven Raffi relationship is a different type of relationship.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying it too. I think that it definitely has a lot of depth, and I want to see more of it. That's definitely one of the more of the season. I think that they're despite the side questing, I think that getting to spend some time with the two of them as a couple, that's been good. I've been liking that too.
Yeah.
So we haven't even talked about Rios and Teresa.
No, I was just about to transition to that briefly and just say that, like, for those of you who are straight listeners, you know, and want to see a relationship that you might understand a little bit more, you've got the Teresa Rios relationship, which I think is much more understandable when you start to look through Rios's eyes and the fact that he's. So a lot of people are struggling with the fact that this is a different Rios. Like, where's Captain Rios? Where's the mission? You know, the mission focused Rios. And I think for Rios, and if you watch the Ready Room, you kind of see that. I can't think of his name who plays Rios, but
I don't remember his name.
It's leaving my mind right now, but he says that it's great to play this complex character who is essentially experiencing love for the first time, or is experiencing love. And so this is a new aspect of the character Rios. And so I think it's great that, I think it's fine and understandable why he's doing the things that he's doing, like bringing her, Teresa, and Ricardo onto the ship, which a lot of people don't agree with. But this is a man who's in love and who kind of, sees this, sees something in his relationship with her. And
yeah, no, I think there is something, I find I don't, I think it really helps that the two of them have good chemistry. We've talked about this before, and that even the kid, I don't remember the kid's name, but that even the three of them as a unit, like they're kind of like gelling, which I think makes it work. I did find Teresa's little soliloquy a little bit. I was like kind of confused as to what she was trying to say.
I have a quick solution for that. That's like a telenovela. So that's a very dramatic, like
it was very dramatic, but then I also kind of got lost in it. Like I was like, I'm not sure like who you're saying, like
it's
because they're like, yeah, she was like, yeah, we've been married for 10 years, and then like I meet a stranger. I'm like, wait, is this someone else? But no, she's still talking about him. I was just like, they were just like, it was very dramatic, and I had to watch it twice to kind of get what she was going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was that was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that covers most of it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a few other points, but I think we're about at time right now. So
are we?
Should probably
only
wrap
an hour 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good enough amount of time to wrap up.
Barely talk about Picard himself.
Yeah, we didn't. No, I think this is great that we didn't actually talk a lot about Picard. We talked about a lot of the other things around him this week. So I think that's perfect. So
all right. Cool. Well, Mike, do you want to talk about our sponsor?
Sure. Fansets is the exclusive sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network and Deep Space Pride. And we got to see the guys at Mission Chicago just a few weeks ago, where they launched 3 Mission Chicago pins, plus the Mastership collection started, which is an amazing pin / display / I don't even know if I would call it a pin. But it's amazing. Check it out. It's such high quality. It's a beautiful pin of the Enterprise A, and with the dedication plaque, which doubles as a stand if you want to have it stand. It's also fully magnetized, so you can put it somewhere where you have metal and can show it proudly. So it's a great pin. But head on over to fansets.com, put a bunch of pins into your cart, and if you use the word Trek Geeks, all one word, at checkout, you're going to get 10% off your order, and if your order is over $30, you're going to get free shipping in the US. So head on over there and check them out. There are so many pins from so many different fandoms. There are over 400 Star Trek pins alone, but definitely go, and they also release like Admiral pips. They've even put up a new I think it's a motion picture badge that they just posted that they're going to order. And if you were at Mission Chicago and saw all of those coin pins, those coins in the Strange New Worlds display, they're making all of those pins plus a 13th pin if you buy the entire set. So and they're only doing enough orders with a little bit of extra for people who pre-order those. So stay tuned to fansets.com for those. Follow them on all the socials, and you'll be up to date on what they're doing and when those go on sale. But check them out, and we want to thank Fansets for being our exclusive sponsor of Deep Space Pride and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
It is worth noting that the old promo code that we used to mention on the podcast no longer works. So please don't use it. If you do, you will not get the 10% off. You need to use the new one, which is just Trek Geeks. It's all capital.
Yeah. Yep. Same as always. All capitals. Trek, TREK, Geeks, GEEKS. Yes, cool. All caps.
All right.
Thanks. For 10% off your order.
Awesome. Thanks, Fansets. Cool. So I think that does it for this week's episode. We'd love to hear from you, and let you know. Rather, we would love for you to let us know what you think about the things that Mike and I disagree on. We love some tiebreakers. So feel free to contact us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at dspacepride, or at Gmail, dspacepride@gmail.com. And if you do reach out, we'll be sure to answer you or try to.
Yeah.
And if you like this podcast and you want to hear more of it, we would also love for you to give us a 5-star review, 5 or 4-star review, on your podcast platform of choice. And yeah, we just we love to feel your love. If you love us, if you don't, that's all right. Cool. I think that does it.
That does it for this week. Yeah. Tomorrow's the penultimate episode, and we're fast approaching the finale and the premiere of Strange New Worlds. So we have a lot more Trek to talk about. And we'll eventually get to some off topic when we have.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right.
Some more time, but we're already at like 90 minutes here, so we need to move on with our lives, and I have to eat dinner. So.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, it's so late.
Yes.
Well, that's why I eat beforehand. So.
Right. Yes.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you all soon.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com, or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.